Anyhow, all right. So we have three articles that we'll sort of talk about, I guess, together because it's really about where is the future of all of this taking us. AI is one of those. I actually find the whole AI space completely fascinating because it is simultaneously so overhyped and so overblown, and at the same time, so truly transformative. I really
Mhm.
believe that there is so many kernels of truth in all that hype and so that it makes it quite challenging to sort it out and to figure out which parts of this are real and which parts of it are not. And it's not about anyone blowing smoke. It's about where is the impact going to actually be felt and have a meaningful, lasting impact on the way we work. So the
Mhm.
first article is from they're a private equity firm, a venture capital firm, not sure, but
Yeah, a VC firm,
a
Felicis.
VC firm. Yeah, Felicis, and so what I love about this is this analysis from them is called From Alert Hell to AI Autopilot, and what's interesting is they're talking about honestly boring IT domains that we talked about forever, and most of us don't talk about much at all because they're considered non-strategic now when they're just the basic, right? So three areas: IT service management, incident response, and QA, and have identified a whole host of companies in each of these domains that are applying AI in interesting ways to potentially realize the future that we have talked about for 20 years of this idea of lights out operations where the system just runs itself. And it's just I'm still not sure. Maybe I've been burned too much that I believe it's really happening, but I do believe that we are going to see an era of transformation, unlike we've seen before in all of these spaces, um, and I think it is just going to be fascinating to try to sort all that out. So I don't know what your take on this particular article was.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. And it helps that Felicis has some actual cred in the data world. They are invested in weights and biases, Mother Duck, some of the, these hot analytic and data science type companies. And I always found it challenging when I worked in network services, trying to provide an explanation of root cause analysis for failures or bottlenecks to everybody else, because the language that we would use would not make sense to 95% of the world. And that's just the real reality. So the idea of being able to actually move to systems that simply explain what they're doing and can independently make quick fixes for across the millions or billions of transactional issues that potentially come up. Most of them are honestly meaningless, but a few can cause some real problems. The idea that you could actually have more automated lights out solution to be able to deal with this would be fantastic. And I do see this as one of the great understated uh, use cases for AI. The only problem with this is that it's such a boring topic that it is hard to get the CFO's attention for something like this.
Well, I think there's a couple of
It's
problems.
plumbing,
It's
right?
the only, yeah, and therefore the only real value in it. There's only two value levers that you have to pull in applying the technology, and the first is cost savings, and the second is improved levels of service, which can have very dramatic impacts across all
Mhm.
three of these domains. Um, but it's also zero sum, right? The organization already expects the damn things to work, and so simply making them work is hard to get a whole lot of money for from an investment standpoint. And so all of these have a cost ceiling on them that
Mhm.
you are only going to be willing to invest so much to solve these problems, and that's the fundamental challenge with it. But if you're going to read this article, and I highly recommend it, the most meaty part of it is actually the challenges section. So it identifies three big problems with why this has been such why these have been such difficult problems to solve for, and I think it nails it. The heterogeneity of our tech stack, right, the uniqueness of these systems make it really difficult to apply a piece of generic technology onto it that doesn't truly understand how all these different potential systems connect and interconnect and work, and that can cause gaps. The second is automation. It says automation versus decision making, and this is really this challenge of with all that complexity in the stack, how do you sort out the false positives, false negatives? Because this is make or break stuff. The first time an AI system fails to catch a problem and you are relying on it to do it is the day you get fired and that system gets ripped out, because there's no excuse, right? And so it's really, really difficult. You have to nail it. And again, so that risk reward. And the last is the inertia, that there's so much money invested in platforms like ServiceNow and Atlassian, PagerDuty, it lists a whole bunch of them, that it's very difficult. So now you are talking about having to layer something on top of those systems to make it work. I think it's very doable, but it again makes it now it's an additive cost that has to not only justify itself, but what it's underpinning it. And so these are the intractable issues that have stopped this from being real for the last 20 years. And so the question is, can Gen AI actually overcome them finally?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question.
Yeah, definitely taking on the likes of ServiceNow and Atlassian. Like that's a big ask. It's not like they're giving up on trying to be smarter.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and they're going to roll out, and that's the whole issue. They're all rolling out AI solutions as well. They're going to be very ecosystem or centric to their own, and all of those pieces. And so it's going to be an interesting challenge. But I appreciated that someone's talking about these areas, and I appreciated that it was a very, I thought, insightful look at the space.
Yeah.